We're here for a couple of different reasons. One of them is I just fucking love talking to Congressman Denver Riggleman III. He's like my new favorite guy. We spend a lot of time together. We have similar values. And we're here to shake things up a little bit, right? We're going to talk about some bombshell texts. A lot of things that people don't realize is that this man was on the J6 committee. He was the AI guy. He was the research guy, right? You were on the committee that didn't just investigate what happened on J6, but literally was trying to unearth all kinds of fucked up information, crazy exchanges, trying to figure out how something like that happens in a vacuum, and what you realized, and we all know now, it doesn't. Right? It just doesn't. While the American people have been lied to, and still, by the way, being gaslit and lied to, which is why this is going to be a very important conversation. There was a real, absolute, fucking rock solid plan that very important people in every level of the Trump regime were enacting and pushing forward the day after the election to do what they did to the United States, which is cause an insurrection. You wrote a book about it called The Breach. Everybody needs to go and order The Breach, because what we're going to talk about today, you make mention of some of these things in The Breach. And what we're going to talk about today is so important because it's fucking happening again. It's happening again. And sorry, that's the pooch. And you know, I think that this conversation leans into all the other losses we're seeing with the Trump regime right now. SCOTUS just ruled against his tariff scam, which is huge. We're seeing real governments kind of stand up and go, no, you can't use our country to stage a war against Iran. Like, we're literally seeing his influence die, which is why bringing this back into the foray is so fucking important, because he's running on what he did to America several years ago. And you were on the inside of the January 6th committee.
I was, and this is so spontaneous, but what I'm about to do today is literally 3 text messages from the first 2 days after the election and some supporting validated documentation with the text messages. Now, just to let everybody know, everything that I'm reading today is sourced and validated. You can go look it up yourself, not only through the book, which was fact-checked, but also through Meadows' lawyers themselves. So we're going to talk about text messages to and from Mark Meadows right after the election that shows that there was already a plan in multiple levels to overturn the election. None of this was spontaneous. What's interesting is this is spontaneous as Substack, and I can tell because we didn't really put it out there, but I got a feeling once you put it out on Substack, and we're going to put this down for people, right, Dean? You're going to write down, put it in writing, what these are. So it's really difficult. It's almost like I want to start with the text messages, Dean, and I want you to ask any questions, because I know I shocked you this morning when I sent this to you via email.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to, and I just want to kind of play the set the table for everybody. These are text exchanges that have never been seen or heard before. Denver is in receipt of these text exchanges, and I want everybody to hit that heart and hammer that little box with the arrow and send this to as many people as you possibly can. I want you to follow Denver Riggleman, hit that chyron at the top, subscribe to him, because what we're going to do is we're going to show you, Denver's going to show you that there was always a plan to steal the election. J6 was always in operation. J6 and at the highest levels of the government. And I'm not just talking about congressmen, senators, and privy council clerks and guys like this goes to the Supreme Court. So if you have an opportunity right now to share this with people, in as much as you can, hit that little box at the bottom, hammer that, because what's going on now, and we're going to draw that parallel, and we're going to do it through texts from way back into 2020, right? Like this is the day after the election. So go ahead if you can, Den. And by the way, Denver's letting the fucking ham fly today. So let's just give extra points for courage, because this has never, ever seen the light of day. Go ahead, Den.
Well, they've seen, okay, and I have to be specific. You know me, Dean, right? They've seen the light of day, but never joined together like this in context. And I think people, I'm almost afraid of the comments. When I wrote The Breach, Dean, I couldn't do 100% of what I thought I knew because I knew the FBI was downstream going to do an investigation on it. So we had the 30 million lines of data. We had done all the phone records. I had tracked Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, things like that. We had the Meadows texts. We had sort of unearthed the Jenny Thomas texts because when Mark Meadows gave up the text messages, he did not put the names next to the phone numbers. So we had to do identity resolution data analytics to identify everybody in these text messages.
And this was your job in the J6 committee, right? You were the tech guy. You were the AI guy.
Yeah. I was the senior technical advisor using my counterterrorism experience of over 20 years, tracking Al-Qaeda, ISIS, identifying radicalization elements, looking at computer network operations. I brought a team together to be the senior technical advisor and analytic team for the January 6th committee. And
so you're qualified.
Yeah, I sometimes, right? Sometimes qualified, right? Sometimes qualified.
Yeah.
So everything here is sourced and validated. These texts have not been put together like this. I tried to, in the book, to sort of bridge that gap for everybody. But what I'm about to do, I hope doesn't scare the hell out of everybody, to be honest. This is literally just data-based, facts-based analysis. Here we go. The election was on November 3rd. And if everybody remembers the alternate elector theory, and I hope that people ask you questions, Dean, after this, because we can make this an ongoing concern.
Yeah. Please, and pump them in the chat too, everybody. Please.
Yes, there were multiple individuals, multiple people that were coming up with ideas right when the election was over on how to overturn the fair election. Does everybody know on November 4th, 2020 at 2:08 p.m., do you know one of the first text messages that mentioned alternate electors is from Rick Perry, the former governor of Texas? Okay. Now, this is the day after. So when everybody talks about this alternate elector theory and all the different ways that they could overturn the election, I'm going to read Rick Perry, then I'm going to read Don Jr.'s text to Mark Meadows about the multiple ways that this could actually happen. So here we go. I hope everybody's ready. Rick Perry says, here's an aggressive strategy. And he misspelled aggressive.
Yep.
Okay. Here's an aggressive strategy. Why can't the states of Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and other R-controlled state houses? Now, as I'm reading through these, I need people to listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. Here's an aggressive strategy. This is November 4th, everyone. Why can't the states of Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and other R-controlled state houses declare this is BS? Which I believe means bullshit, I think.
Yes. Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah,
no, thank you. And then parentheses, where conflicts and elections not called that night. Now, listen, this isn't the best English. I have to read it exactly like the text message. I mean, listen, when I say I got them, I got 'em. Okay, right?
All right.
All right.
We'll try and keep up with the terrible grammar from Rick Perry. Yes.
Yes. Well, I mean, not the brightest bulb at the Home Depot, right? So, where conflicts and elections are not called that night, what does he mean? He means that if there's a state that didn't call that election immediately, which is ridiculous with mail-in ballots, with provisional ballots, with all the things you have to do for an official count before you call something, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about networks calling it based on percentages and data from other elections and also on specific precinct voting patterns, which is a data analytical exercise. We're talking about actually calling the elections. He is suggesting that any state that didn't call the election that night is fraudulent. Think about what I'm saying. It's crazy, right? Here we go. Why can't the states, I'm going to reread it now that you know the context. Why can't the states of Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and other R-controlled state houses declare this is BS, where conflicts and elections were not called that night, and just send their own electors to vote? This is November 4th, the day after election, and have it go to SCOTUS. SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States. SCOTUS. Now he's talking about the Supreme Court, Dean. I hope people. I'm shocked because I know all the context. So I'm trying to make sure everybody knows this. This is what Rick Perry wrote. Now this is what I just want you to let it sink in, and you can ask any question after this, Dean. SCOTUS understands that the state legislator is the will of the people. The state legislature is the will of the people, and rule that the electors are legal. Done. Federalist theory. What? Precedent in history. So what is he saying right there? He is saying that he thinks the Supreme Court of the United States will allow any votes to be cast out because it's actually the state legislature that should pick the electors, even over the voters, if the state legislator chooses to do so. Think about what I'm telling you. This is exactly what was used 2 months later. Exactly. And this is November 4th.
Every one of those states were in play, is your point.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's how Lincoln got into the presidency, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
He said that?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, everybody.
I'm pretty sure it's how Lincoln won.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Right?
That is unbelievable.
Right. So, and I think when I read these before, because I read them in order for each specific individual, but just a few of them, I've never put them together like this. This is the first time this has ever heard.
Yeah.
Except if there's parts in my book, if you put it together, this is it. But I'm like, you know what? I just have to feed this to people like a bird that feeds its child. I
got to chew it up a little bit. Yeah. So it's malleable so people can understand it. Yeah.
Because it's so insane. I have to be like the Nutter Whisperer. Okay. So here we go. Lesson learned by states is that if you don't control your state and not have all this crooked shit and delays in voting, remember what I said, his automatic, because Rick Perry's not that bright, his automatic assumption was if all the votes don't come in that night. I mean, this is the governor of Texas. He knows he's full of shit. But he's saying that everybody's fraudulent. Then this is the way the votes will go. As approved by SCOTUS, I wonder if POTUS knows this about the electors. Guys, it could lead to some interesting horse trading as well. That last sentence, everybody needs to, okay?
Pay
so
attention.
This is one text. That's November 4th at 2:08 p.m. from Rick Perry about an aggressive strategy to throw out the votes and have the state legislators pick the electors.
It's the whole fucking game. That's the whole big lie right there. And is that, before we get to the next email exchange, is that the first salvo, the first, receipt of anything to do with fake electors, putting these states in, call the elections back into play? And then, because what I heard in there too was this is something we need to create. And outside the bounds of whatever it is we're creating, we also might be able to get some help from SCOTUS. Is that what I heard in there as well?
Yeah, that the Supreme Court would surely go along with this. Yeah. Yeah.
That is unfucking believable. That's the whole fucking kit and shooting match right there. That's it.
Here's the issue, though. It never got to the Supreme Court because it would have if Mike Pence would have objected to the electors. They had it. They had it dead to rights. There was a reason that Donald Trump called Mike Pence a pussy. Because he knew if they got to that point, it would actually be thrown to the states. So here's the thing. The alternate electors could have turned the election because the alternate electors would have voted for Trump. So those 7 swing states would have all went to Trump. The Electoral College vote goes to Trump. If they throw out the electors and don't allow the alternate electors, then the election goes to the House of Representatives. So now that's 2 ways they could have turned the election. Now everybody said, well, Denver, there was a Democratic majority in Congress at the time. That's not how it works in the House of Representatives. It's what party controls a state. So, for example, California, right, has 70, 80% are Democratic congressional representatives, but that's only 1 vote because there's more Democrats than Republicans. Guess who else gets 1 vote? Wyoming only has 1 congressional representative. South Dakota, North Dakota, all the Republican at-large states would outvote anybody who has, it's the same vote if you have 54 congressional representatives or 1. So there were 26 or 27 Republican-controlled states, even though the Democrats had more representatives. Does that make sense, Dean?
Yeah, totally. I thank you. You're explaining it in such an easy way to understand, not just for a dullard like me, but everybody out there that, they've flooded the zone. They're doing it again, but they flooded the zone. And we have to go back to the beginning for this explanation because this is what they're trying to do again on fucking steroids.
On steroids. And by the way, midterms in 2028, past performance is indicative of future performance. So are they going to do the same thing with lawfare, where they're going to say that alternate electors or that there's foreign interference? Now, the other thing, too, is that you have to have reasons. You have to almost have a consolidated plan or tool set in order to get to throw out the electors because you have a fraudulent election. Right.
Mm.
So there's building blocks to this plan that started happening on November 4th. Now, I'm only going to read 3 texts. I think people's minds are going to explode because then I'm going to give them some context even beyond that. So here we go. So you're like, well, Den, Rick Perry, right? Not the brightest bulb, sort of a
Great hair,
knuckle
though.
dragger. How many other people, right, are going to be doing this, right? So let's go to a text from Don Jr. Oh, to Mark Meadows. You guys ready for this?
Okay, the first one was Rick Perry to Mark Meadows. This is now Don Jr. Cokey McCoke Pants to Mark Meadows, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I'm ready. I don't know if our listeners are. We're watching people flood into this thing right now. Everybody's like, oh my God.
Well, it's funny because I know we announced the last one and we had more, because me and you we announced it and this was quite spontaneous. I got a feeling this might go viral, what I'm about to say. So the next text is 22 hours later, Dean.
November 5th, 12:51.
12:51. Look at you, man.
I'm watching. Dude, I'm fucking, this is my jam.
Now, remember what I just read about Perry, and this is where I almost want people to superimpose the Perry text over the Don Jr. text to Mark Meadows on November 5th, 2021, 22 hours after the Perry text. Here we go. This text was sent from Don Jr. to Mark Meadows. Are we ready? Here we go. It's very simple. If through our lawsuits and recounts, the Secretary of States on each state cannot certify the state's vote, the state assemblies can step in and vote to put forward the electoral slate Republicans control Pennsylvania, which what he meant to say, and it's hard because I have to put him up exactly as it's said because
he's missing a period. Yeah, after electoral
right?
slate. Yeah,
after slate, I was getting it. Dean, well done, my friend.
Thanks,
after
buddy.
Slate,
I love grammar.
Yeah, after
big grammar guy.
You love Lindsey Grammar. So anyway,
no.
That was ridiculous. It's like
no, that's a quick aside. We'll take a pit stop in Lindsey Graham's brain a little later on because I think between myself and Steve Schmidt, we ended his life this weekend. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, anybody addicted to Grindr. But anyway, so if you look at the period after slate, right? Republicans control Pennsylvania already. So Don Jr. 22 hours later is mimicking Rick Perry's messaging, which means it's coordinated. Now, when you're looking at data analytics or you're looking at intelligence analysis, these are not. I'm reading 3. It was absolutely inundated all the way up to about November 15th on the alternate electors from congressional representatives and things like that. Here's the other thing I want to tell about Don Jr. and I think I might have sent it on your email, and I think it's the correct one. Do you guys know that Trump's cabinet they were on these emails? So some of these are group emails. So when you look at the first email from Rick Perry, would you guys, I can't say all the names because some of them are private citizens and Republican activists, but I can say 2 names. Do you guys know who was on the 2 line for this first text message from Rick Perry to Mark Meadows?
Ben Carson
and Sonny Perdue.
Oh.
Guys, look up who they were during the Trump administration. So you're telling me it was never reported when people had these texts, even the J6 committee, which I was banging that drum, that there were actual Trump cabinet members on these emails, were aware and never said anything. A lot of people said, well, there was never anywhere in the text where you had the only text I had from Ben Carson is when he said interesting to another insane text. He just said interesting. What people don't understand, though, is the cabinet, if they knew it was nuts, they should have automatically weighed in on what was happening, but they did not. They are complicit. So now everybody's like, oh, it was everybody underneath Trump. So you're telling me the chief of staff, Trump's son, and the whole cabinet were aware of the plan and Don Jr. didn't know? You know what? If you believe that, I don't know how to fix that frontal lobe problem you have. I don't know if it was missing in some kind of car accident or it wasn't there when you were born. But if you believe that, you're pretty much an idiot. So here we go. Here's what he said. Republicans control Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, etc. We get Trump electors. Dean?
Yeah.
I hope everybody's listening to this. We get Trump electors. There's a safe harbor on 8 December. By law, you guys need to look this up. It's insane. They already knew when they had to have the electors picked to be legal. This is November 5th, my brother. This is November 5th. They were already looking at how to overturn the election so quick because they knew they had a chance with a Republican dominated, again, not majority, state dominated, based on the majority rule for each state. They knew they could get there, right? There's a safe harbor on 8 December. If for whatever reason you miss the electors, they cannot meet in the individual state capitals on 14 December. So we either have a vote we control or we win, or it gets kicked to Congress. January 6, 2021, Pence, the House meets to vote by state party delegation, one state per California. There's also one for Montana. Don Jr. outlays it to Mark Meadows that they can win the election multiple ways. Right? Either count the electors, we win. Kick the electors out, we win. Or, I don't know if you guys knew the third way, and this is really going to excite you, my friend, is that voting machines were seized. That was NSPM 13, which a lot of people don't know about, National Security Presidential Memorandum, and the election is reheld, which means Trump is president past the time of the inauguration, which means he automatically gets into the second term while there's legal stuff. So they had 3 ways to take the election. 3 ways.
That is some stunning fucking planning. Like, that is not something that just happens. These are people that knew they were going to lose the election. They knew that they were stooped. They knew that they were all in trouble. And they did everything and anything they could, giving themselves 3 outs to keep Donald Trump in office against the fucking will of the people. And I think that is so fucking important for people to recognize through this. Even just listening to him go through it, saying Republicans control Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. This is Don Jr. to Mark Meadows in these texts that you're reading. North Carolina, etc. We get Trump electors. There's safe harbor on the 8th of December, so they've got this little window. And then what they're doing is they're asset matching these state-by-state party delegations, one in California, one in Montana. One Republicans control 28 states. Democrats have 22 states. This is fucking unbelievable. Can you get into the part about Mike Pence? Because he was so fucking important here. So important.
Okay. And
I don't think people realize how close they were to losing America. I really don't.
Mike Pence saved America. And people can, we can talk about all the people that were fighting up to then, but Mike Pence is the reason that we're still hanging on by our fingertips. So the Constitution was that frail. So when you're looking at the Constitution, the vice president is supposed to have an honorary role. What happened with the reimagining of the Constitution by MAGA is that Pence could overwhelm and overtake the vote just by simply objecting to it. And by the way, he could have. There was I don't think the framers ever thought there could be such an immoral and insane conspiracy theories as to actually overturn an election. And if that would have happened, we would have had the biggest constitutional crisis since the Civil War. Well, it gets crazier. Donald Trump Jr., the son of the president, this is November 5th, says Republicans control 28 states, Democrats 22 states. Once again, Trump wins Senate votes for VP Vance, wins. VP Vance wins. So that means that if the Senate votes, say they throw out the electors, say he puts, guys, first they can change the Senate vote to throw out the election. If not, Pence could do it. Now you have multiple ways to throw out the electors, not only multiple ways to win. These guys had actually programmed and war gamed multiple ways to throw out the votes. My mind's exploding. Do you know who the first person to read these text messages were after we got them and deciphered them? Was me. In the world. It was our team. So here's what's crazy. Somebody had asked, how did we get the text? Mark Meadows gave them up quite by accident and then tried to pull them back, and it was too late because this sucker had them. You're screwed.
That's when you take a screenshot of a tweet, someone's going to delete. That's what that was. That was you going, fucking download. Continue. Sorry. The Mike Pence thing is fascinating to me.
It's fast. So then he goes summary. And again, you can see that, there's not really a lot of punctuation here. Summary. We have multiple paths. We control them all. We have operational control, total leverage, moral high ground.
That's interesting, isn't it?
POTUS must start second term now. Holy shit. Fire Ray, Christopher Ray. Fire Fauci. It's spelled Fucci. Sorry, it's Fauci. Make Grinnell, Rick Grinnell, that freak show who's destroyed, right?
Mhm.
The Kennedy Center.
Mhm.
Make Grinnell interim head of FBI. Have Barr select special prosecutor on hard drive from hell Biden crime family. Uh-oh. There's something else happening here, guys. There were two ways to steal the election, two ways to turn the election. One was the J6 conspiracy theories. The other was the Hunter Biden conspiracy theories with the laptop. By the way, there were 5 laptops. And guess who knows more about the Hunter Biden laptops than anybody in history? This guy. Why? Because I did the forensics on him for the Hunter Biden legal team.
You know what? I got to tell you, as exciting as that will be, and when we have that conversation, as exciting that might have been to you, you probably saw a lot of weird shit on that laptop, on all 5 of them. You probably
Yeah, I'm still scarred.
Oh my God. And you know,
listen,
hey, listen, go
listen,
ahead.
Hunter would laugh at this, but now I know how to make my own crack pipes. So, you know.
He would laugh at that, yeah.
So the reason I knew the Hunter Biden stuff was complete fabrications as soon as this, and why I took the job with Biden is because I knew that the data out from the Hunter Biden laptops did not have any forensic chain of custody, which has been proven. Nothing happened except for the stuff that he was actually the state charges or the charges with the firearms and the taxes, right? Had nothing
Yeah.
to do with what Comer was trying to do, because that was all a joke. And by the way, there were 3 or 4 specific foreign sanctioned agents that were providing data to Grassley and to Ron Johnson, which we know, but also to Comer. You're talking about Telizhenko, you're talking about Derkash, you're talking about a bunch of the actual foreign individuals. And by the way, if you ever want to get into that more, Lev Parnas knows a lot about that, right, Dean, as I do. So 2 things are happening here. They're trying to continue the Biden crime family conspiracy theories and the J6 conspiracy theories simultaneously to try to get a rationalization to overturn the election with foreign interference, because they thought that they could make up that the Biden crime family's foreign interference to steal the election was actually on Hunter Biden's laptop. So when you saw some of the people joking about Hunter Biden's laptop saying, oh my God, it also helped overturn the election, that was the joke. All this was part of the J6 conspiracy theories. It was all the same thing. It's the same people. If you think about it, we had 2 people that were leading the Biden investigation: Giuliani for the Russians and Ukrainians, Bannon for the Chinese. So that's what you had going on right there. So now that's 2 texts. We only went through 2 text messages. You're starting to see the coordination. You see how deep it is, right?
Yeah.
So now
I mean, it's freaking me out. Like, and I'm seeing it all here in the chat. Everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Thank God for Mike Pence. Even though Mike Pence is just screaming into the void right now, I think Mike Pence deserves a fucking ton of credit, because even just through the 2 emails, we've got 3 more, I think, to go through that solidify not just where the fake elector scheme and the effort to destroy the United States of America via insurrection started, who fanned those flames and came up with the language to be able to start moving all of those conspiracy theories forward. You know, that's a former governor, who is Rick Perry at the time, the energy secretary. That's the son of the president and the chief of staff, and Mark Meadows. We have a couple other levels of government to get to here in these emails, which I think are even more fucking shocking, Den.
It's so shocking. You know, I wanted to read one, but I'm going to read one. I'm going to read 2 from Jenny Thomas, which a lot of people have seen the Jenny Thomas text that came out on Washington Post. But now that you know how soon all of this happened, you have to start thinking that maybe Jenny and Clarence Thomas might have been in on it. Right?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
So here we go. This is from Jenny Thomas to Mark Meadows on November 5th, 11:55 p.m. And people are like, wait a second, Den. So you're telling me this all happened within almost 24 to 36 hours? Yes. And people at the highest levels of government were already, now they had to have a plan, right? How do you get people to throw out electors and have some kind of plausible deniability or plausible reason? Well, a
Yeah.
lot of that came from Executive Order 13848. That's a whole nother show. That's in Chapter 11 in my book, The Breach, which is executive disorder. Followed by, you need to read a chapter called The Burn Identity about Patrick, which I think is a funny chapter. name. Anyway, so we're going to read Jenny real quick. And, and then I'm going to read another one that I think you guys are going to go, you got to be shitting me, which is YGBSM in the military. So if you hear YGBSM, that's you got to be shitting me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Jenny Thomas to Mark Meadows, November 5th, 2020, 11:55 p.m. She was up late. She'd had a randy evening.
Her and Clarence got busy. That's fucking
That's
nightmare
right.
fuel.
That's
Anyway,
right.
go ahead.
I love you in those robes, Clarence.
Clarence, you've never looked more beautiful than you do now in that black cloak. Clarence.
Clarence.
We have an election to steal. Clarence, get with it, Clarence.
Well,
Sorry, here's the email.
Well, a lot of people also need to look up Jenny's past with LifeSpring, the cult that she was in and had to be deprogrammed, which says why she would believe in QAnon and stuff like that. That's also in my book.
Yeah, she's a fucking crackerjack, that one. She's insane. Anyway, let's get to this insane email, this text.
I hope this is true. Never heard anything like this before, or even a hint of it. Possible. Trump sting with CIA Director Steve Pieczenik, the biggest election story in history. QFX, Quantum Financial System, blockchain, 7-minute video. Actually, you can even put up the YouTube if that video is still up, because I give it to you, brother, right? Watch it, people. It's like a descent into hell. And it's, okay, the QFS blockchain watermarked ballots in over 12 states and have been a huge part and have been a part of a huge Trump and military white hat sting operation in 12 key battleground states where 20,000 plus National Guard were deployed.
What?
Okay. Let me break this down. Jenny Thomas.
Is she talking about a fucking fake video?
Okay. She watched a fake video.
Like one of those fucking weird QAnon videos?
Steve Pieczenik, yeah. She by the way, if everybody remembers on this thread that are watching this, and I hope they're watching with rapt attention, that actually spread throughout far-right news. Do you guys remember about the ballots and the watermarked ballots? And the fact that all came from Jenny and Steve Pieczenik all the way up to the Trump administration and Giuliani, which pushed it.
She's not only involved, she's like bringing in the QAnon crazy to try to distract people and justify the insurrection. This is fucking Clarence Thomas's wife. This is Supreme Court of the United States judicial fucking legend, Clarence Thomas, legend for a bunch of reasons. Anita Hill, we'll get to those another day. This is his fucking wife.
His wife. Well, yeah. This is pretty good. She is saying, and Pieczenik, she believes this guy that 20,000 National Guard were actually going after people who put in fake ballots. Now, do you guys remember the Chinese ballot conspiracy theory that they had they had ballots made of bamboo instead of paper, and they could, I don't even want to tell everybody this is insane, but you guys need to look at the Chinese ballot conspiracy theories, which also came from Jenny Thomas and a bunch of the nutters.
Oh my God, I'm almost certain she came up with her and what's her name, Sydney, the crackerjack, Sidney Powell. I'm almost sure they came up with it was Venezuela. They actually had a whole bunch of these Smartmatic things. It was in Puerto Rico.
That was part of that was part of the foreign interference thing with Chavez, right, and the broken algorithms, and Venezuela, which actually. That actually came from a guy. The first guy to do it was a colonel. Listen, I don't even want to give this away. Okay, you know what? Next time we're going to talk about the Venezuelan conspiracy theories.
Okay, I love these
farms. NSA Hammer and Scorecard, right? And we'll talk about there's over a dozen major conspiracy theories around foreign interference, which they were trying to use to steal the election that we can all go into if you guys would like to know. And we can get into Bigfoot and UFO abductions and have a great time. Okay,
I would love to. Yeah.
Remember what I talked about? Remember when Donald Trump Jr. talked about Biden?
Mm-hmm.
Military, white hat sting operation. So I'm going to start from there. 12 key battleground states, 20,000 plus National Guard were deployed. That's to arrest all these false ballot people, right? Biden crime family and ballot fraud co-conspirators, elected officials, bureaucrats, social media censorship mongers, fake stream media reporters, etc. What she's saying is the entire conspiracy was a deep state globalist conspiracy that social media and the mainstream media were in on, it's so insane. It's hard for me to even put that into words. They're saying they're being arrested. So while this was happening, Jenny Thomas is saying that there's thousands of people being arrested across the country. They're being detained for ballot fraud right now and over coming days, and will be living in barges off Gitmo to face military tribunals for sedition.
You know what's fucking hilarious? You know how many fucking garages I've been to of like my neighbors and friends that believed in some of these conspiracy theories? I'm going back to a conversation I had with someone several years ago when and they're like, "Did you hear? They've started to arrest all the people that fucked Donald Trump." Like, I mean, this made its way into the mainstream. And and it's pure fucking fantasy that, there was a Trump sting with the CIA director and they arrested 20,000 people. The National Guard was deployed. The Biden crime family had a ballot fraud co-conspirator deal with the, it's just, and everybody was on it. It's like having the same conversation with people about COVID where they're like, I say, can you explain to me then why every major university and researcher worth their salt in the world says the COVID vaccine's fine? You can take it, and they're like, "Oh, you're in on it," and you're like, "No, I mean."
Listen, I've had a lot of COVID shots, but I like to put them right on my forehead. Okay, so
I get mine right in the jugular.
In the jugular,
right here. Yeah.
They drop the blood and push it back in. You're like, give me some of that mRNA. All right.
This is unfucking believable. This is from Ginny Thomas.
This is Thomas. So okay. The thing that I want to link everybody now as we come to the end, and you can start, if everybody can start asking questions or getting going here. Right, yeah. Is this text? There's two. I'm going to do really quick. Just forward your Gmail an email I had sent to Jared this AM. Okay. On November 13th, 2020 at 6:39 AM, I don't think she slept, which probably explains the text, that she is in contact with Jared Kushner. Mm-hmm. Now we have the Supreme Court Justice's wife in contact with the White House specifically. I just want everybody to just think about where I'm going here because it's going to get a little worse. Okay? Sidney Powell and improved coordination now will help the cavalry come and fraud exposed and America saved. Mm-hmm. Saved.
That's nice.
Don't let her and your assets be marginalized. Instead, help her be the lead and the face. All right, last.
So dramatic.
She copy-pasted an email from a woman named Connie Hare that said that this was our Omaha beach. Okay? I'm not going to read the whole thing. Do you know who Connie Hare was? She was chief of staff for Congressman Louis Gohmert. Ginny Thomas was coordinating with the executive, legislative, and judicial branches because she's married to a Supreme Court judge. Maybe the most dangerous person because she also sent emails to Arizona electors telling them to throw out the vote and bring us alternate electors. Ginny Thomas did that. And you're like, well, how do you connect that to Clarence Thomas? I can, because Clarence Thomas was a big fan of the independent state legislature theory, went out and actually said that states could overcome the will of the voters. Look at the 8-1 vote to try to suppress evidence. That was Clarence Thomas. Go look it up. Listen, everything I do is sourced and validated. You can go look it up. And the fact is this. When I tried to push this, that I thought we should subpoena Clarence and Ginny Thomas, I was completely shut down. And that is why that my relationship with the committee started to deteriorate because I had all the data. And I knew what was happening. I've done this for many years. I've killed a lot of terrorists, Dean. I've tracked a lot of bad guys. I've done a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And what I want to tell people is that this was thought of and connected even before the election and was executed as soon as the election was done through multiple avenues, including influencer publishing. We had a list of the influencers that were briefed to Donald Trump from Phil Waldron and Rudy Giuliani on exactly what they should say about the stolen election.
Who was on that list? Just some names off the top of your head, like the Tim Pools of the world, the
Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, you name it.
They were all brought in? They were all briefed and brought in?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, now that's my wheelhouse. That's where those are some scalps I'd like to take. Yeah.
Now, they had to believe, obviously many were briefed. I mean, look at the influencers and the whole ridiculous Epstein files thing and the empty binders that they had. What I want to tell people is that its entire administration is built on this ability to mine the ignorant in a way we've never seen. It's also to monetize the ignorant, and it's also to steal from the ignorant, and it's also to try to take power to mine taxpayers, which we all know based on the $10 billion he just gave to the Partnership for Peace or whatever the hell this stupid shit
Board
is.
of Peace. He slept through half of it, so I don't know if he remembers.
Yeah, well, I'm bored of that. But I think that that's the issue that we have is that when we're going through this, and listen, I see people popping up stuff. And Dean, I love your listeners. I love everybody, but I need to say this.
Mhm.
This information in my book or in some respects in the J6 report, but not as much, has been out there for some time. The text messages, the reason they didn't want the text messages out there so much is they're so damaging. Because it shows that the entire political infrastructure and the Republican side was for overturning an election. If you have people that were on the committee who wanted to run for president in the future as a Republican, there was no way that they could actually go after Clarence Thomas and things like that. They just
Why not?
Because they were worried that if they still ran as a Republican and went after a conservative judge, they were unelectable. I think that was one of the reasons, but I have to theorize because I was never told that. The other thing that I could imagine why Liz sort of shut down, some of this was that
Liz Cheney.
Liz Cheney is I think that there was so much fear about what this actually meant. And I think, and I try to give some grace, even though it's very difficult. I think Congress is not suited for a major data investigation. They don't have the talent. They also don't know how to resource properly. And you have too many political agendas to do a real investigation. It's bullshit.
That last part, Den, is, if you don't mind, I can call you Den. I think we're close enough. I can shorten your name. Den, my man, Riggs. What is standing out to me is that this is the first. I mean, I've heard of these texts and some of them. I have heard about Ginny Thomas's QAnon theoretical fucking weirdness and how she thinks there's like an army of fucking deep state people. I've heard of all these things. This is the first time. What is it? It's 2026 right now. Yeah. What are we like? What day is it today? This is February the 20th, 2026. This is 6 years ago. This is 6 years ago. We're a year and plus into another run with the same people that have all the levers of power to fuck you over again. Number one. Number two is they will go to every effort, to your point, to platform the ignorant, to mine the ignorant, to steal from the ignorant, and to militarize and radicalize the ignorant. And what better way to do that than to do it through an organization like QAnon? What better group of people to go after than, individual lobby groups that believe in different religious cults, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a hodgepodge of different interests and organizations that they've seemingly been able to tack into. But I cannot get away from the fact that we know all of these things, but we've never seen them on a fucking roadmap. And what you're telling me is that roadmap was prevented from being shared with the American people in regards to your work on the J6 committee to not only have a Venn diagram with receipts, verified facts, claims, receipts, timestamps, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that could have laid all of this out so that we wouldn't be in this fucking predicament again. And someone like Liz Cheney, for political reasons, said, Den, don't do it. Don't connect those dots for us like you're doing here with 5 fucking emails. You've got hundreds of texts. You've got hundreds of thousands of them. And folks, keep in mind, we're just opening this up now. And the reason why we're opening this up now is because real patriots like Denver Riggleman don't want to fucking see this happen again. And if you're looking for any kind of bias slant from Denver Riggleman, he was there to do the fucking job of trying to verify the information behind the scenes so you could completely understand what went into this. And five texts, individual texts from every level of fucking government, starting with Rick Perry to John Jr. to Mark Meadows to Jared Kushner to Ginny Thomas to Clarence fucking Thomas. 5 texts from 5 people. You have hundreds of thousands of them. If you think that they're not going to fucking do this again, you're nuts. You're absolutely nuts. They are fucking emboldened and desperate to this point, but I can't get away from the fact that you kind of served it up to Liz Cheney and she decided she didn't want to prosecute or indemnify or fingered Clarence Thomas. Why? Because her family was friends with the Thomas family? Is that why?
Nobody wants to finger Clarence Thomas. Phrasing. No, I think I I think
I'm fingering him right now, and I'm happy to do it.
Listen, it's interesting. I have to surmise these things. Whoa! I have to surmise these things because, hey, did you lose me, buddy?
Yeah, that's okay.
Hold on a minute.
That's okay.
This is weird. What is happening to my?
I don't know. I'm seeing like a jar of peanut butter or something.
That is a jar of peanut butter.
Yeah, no, it's good for you.
Oh my God!
There you go. Got you back. No, now we're back to the peanut butter.
There's something going on with my phone all of a sudden. It must be the Chinese. So here's what I had to do because we were going on the laptop. I had to grab a jar of peanut butter to put my phone up against because I'm that professional, right?
Dude, yeah, I've done the same thing. Yeah.
So here's the thing, because I have everything over here in this. You wouldn't believe the amount of material I have right here. Here's what I want to tell people I know we got to get off here because me and you have other crazy stuff to do at 1 p.m. I've seen people write on here. They're like, we have to look at the 2024 stolen election. Here's what I want to tell people. Republicans used technical, weirdo, and mumbo-jumbo conspiracy theories to try to rationalize stealing the 2020 election. How did they really try to steal it? By manipulating the process. There was no 2024 stolen election based on Elon Musk satellites or any of that. Regardless of what you're reading, a lot of that's grifters trying to make money from you too. And I know you're like, oh my God, Denver, you haven't seen it yet. Yeah, I have. I'm pretty good at this. Here's what I want to tell people.
Yeah, you don't hope that's true. You just go where the fucking information
I
and
go
the
where the
facts
information is.
Yeah.
They're going to try to steal this election through process, intimidation, and disenfranchisement. It's ICE at the polls. It's trying to throw out votes. It's trying to delay mail-in voting. It's trying to make it illegal. It's trying to pass the SAVE Act. Those are the things, because when you're looking at 50 different states with 50 different ways to elect people, the risk of that, the risk management analysis is almost impossible to get over if you have 50 states where you're trying to change the election. Now, here's the argument, the counter argument. We'll say, Denver, it's only 7 states, and it's only counties within those states that they have to change. I get that. That is still a massive amount of people. So that's what I'm telling everybody is, don't get caught up in what you think is sexy. Get caught up in what can be proven and validated through facts and data. Also, when you're talking about the committee, they did an incredible job with what they had. The issue was, people don't understand this. Congress does not have criminal justice authority, only public trust authority, which means we couldn't get all the data that the FBI got. Lastly, people need to understand this. All the hard drives with the data that we found connecting all the white nationalist groups to the administration and the phone calls that even happened during the riot to rally planners and to one person on the ground, those hard drives are missing. They are gone. I cannot find them. I've tried to use an attorney and I cannot get to them.
What do you mean, like the hard drives that had all of the dangerous Proud Boy, and the connections with the Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, Stuart Rhodes, Enrique Tarrio, and their effort, and they're working with Roger Stone, with the regime back in that time to fucking attack the Capitol building and go in and kill people so that they could keep Donald Trump in office. It's fucking, I mean, they had a gallows. Let's talk about that honestly for a fucking second. You're saying all of that information on certain hard drives since you have left the J6 committee has disappeared? It doesn't exist anymore?
Our technical team was ordered to mail in 2 hard drives with all the data. That was it. And we were stunned. We're like, well, wouldn't you want this backed up? They said, no, just send 2 hard drives with all the data. And this was right before, this was, back in the day. So I was gone by that time, but obviously the technical team called me in a fucking furor, like, is this real? I'm like, you got to follow what they say. Don't break the law. It is the worst. If I could go back in time, I would have said to keep 1 hard drive back or all that data backed up in a safe space. And we were going to, but my worry was I wasn't on the team anymore and I didn't want them to get in trouble. I didn't want my decisions to imperil others, which is the worst form of disrespect and the worst form of, I would say, selfish behavior. If I could go back in time, I would have kept all that data, because now those 2 hard drives with 30 million lines of data, millions of hard pages of call records, the entire link maps that linked all of the groups, the one that showed Roger Stone is the only one linked to every major group, all that data cannot be found. And it is something that I don't know if I'll ever get over. And it's just,
That's unreal, dude.
it's
That
been
is unreal.
it's been really rough on me, because I know it's incompetence. My guess is they're like in somewhere just in somebody's desk, or you know what I mean? I don't think they were purposefully gotten rid of, because I don't have proof of that. And if anybody's an anti-conspiracy theorist, Dean, you know I am like the number one anti-conspiracy theorist on earth. But there's a difference between conspiracy theories and criminal conspiracies. And people need to know that also. So as I'm going forward, what I have to do is, can I recreate that data somehow so I can show the entire American public, whether I go to jail or not? But I can't access it. Like, and if I would have asked other people to do my bidding or to do that for me, I would have put them in harm's way. I couldn't do it, guys. And so people are like, Deborah, you should have kept the data. Yeah, and put all of the technical team and all the people who took an oath to the Constitution also under threat. Why would I?
Yeah.
Why would I do that to these people? So all of this is what's happening. All this is what's going on. And I hope that one day those hard drives are found. But until then, the only thing that really covers the data is my book.
The
That
breach.
scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, I mean, and you didn't go this far in the breach, right? In this conversation, you kind of left some things out there and hoped people were, and obviously you're working against, any kind of, legal issue that you might have, of publishing something, saying something that you might help people move in that direction, and you're not that guy, and I can attest for that. We got to go here in a minute, but I want everybody to go and follow Denver Riggleman right now. Hit that Chiron at the top, become a paid subscriber, become a free subscriber, just become a subscriber to Denver Riggleman, because over the next couple of weeks, as we move towards the midterms of 2026, next couple of months, we're going to be dragging a bunch of this stuff out. We're going to be telling these stories. There is no bias behind them. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I don't think Denver has any one of those stripes in him left anymore either. He's here to fucking tell the truth, and to have merit-based leadership involved in the process of trying to uncover what is going on to our beloved United States of America. And this is just more fucking proof that 300 and some odd million people are being held hostage. And that hostage taking, they want that to continue over a long period of time, which is why we've gone back to the beginning. And I cannot thank you enough for airing some of this today. I know you and I have had several conversations about the sensitive nature of this conversation, these texts, your involvement in the J6 committee, and for you to courageously step up and talk about it today with receipts. And by the way, I'll be posting them all in a blog post on my Substack, deanblundell.substack.com. I'm going to share that with Denver so he can reproduce that on his Substack as well, so you can see the actual texts and we can walk you through this conversation. Sorry, go ahead.
Quickly, September 23, I think, or 20, I'm trying to remember. I was on 60 Minutes. I went through the whole thing, and they even did outtakes. There was so much information I shared with 60 Minutes. You can go look at my 60 Minutes with Bill Whitaker, but you can also look at all the 60-minute minutes where I talk about all of the data and how it was stacked. This did come out. The thing is, only 8 or 9 million people watched it. I say that, it's sort of humble bragging, but there's 340 million people in the United States, and in Canada has 40 million plus. If you do want to look at a baseline, I did it there, but I also, my gosh, guys, I've been on TV. I've tried, and if I failed, I failed you. I apologize, but I've tried my best. And
no, you're still trying, and this is the great part: the
trying.
resilience of Denver Riggleman. You're going to keep banging at that drum, and we're going to bring our friends a little closer to you. Friends from the Save America movement, our friend Steve Schmidt. We're going to make sure that this stuff gets moving. But I can't thank you enough. And with that, we will take our leave. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the Chiron at the top. This will be reproduced. Share this with as many people as humanly possible. That's the most important thing. And we're going to continue to uncover these things and draw this map for you so you can understand this. And the reason why Denver's doing it is the same reason why I want to do it. It's because we are you. We're all hostages here. So let's change that fucking game and let's do it now. Denver Riggleman, thanks for doing this, brother. Really appreciate it. Great to see you again.
Thanks, brother. See you, my friend. Bye now.
Talk to you soon. We'll be back at 3:00 for the 5 stack. We'll see you then. Bye, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, share. It's really important. Sharing's caring. You all know that. Thanks for taking time with us today. Really appreciate it.